What's up everyone, SedlockN'Load 93. Today I got a cool video for you guys. I have here a Yugoslavian Tokarev, chambered in 7.62 by 25. So on a previous video of mine, I took apart the Zastava, which is a 9mm version of this. This gun was it had to be manufactured before it was 1964 or earlier, because this was CNR available. Same with the Romanian. The Romanian was 1953. I don't know exactly what date this was. So I do have a vintage pistol for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and disassemble and reassemble. Talk to you a little about it. Now, if you guys are new to not just military surplus pistols, but Tokarevs in general, if you see, it kind of looks like a 1911. Kind of similar. It has the same shape, same style. Well, this gun is the actual Tokarev. This is just a variant, because at that time, during the Cold War, I do believe Romania and amongst other countries and Yugoslavia were under the Iron Curtain. So of course they're gonna have different manufacturers, if they were. And I do believe they were. I can't remember. So they all have this the same style. Some are a little different, and I'm gonna do another video taking apart the Romanian Tokarev for you guys. But today I have the Yugo, which honestly I like the Yugo a little better, and in the second video I'll explain why. But this one I'm just gonna go ahead and take it apart and just talk about it. So now, if you have the Zastava and the 9mm version, or you do have the Yugo, if you have it and you don't have a mag in, you can't pull the trigger back. It won't allow you to without a magazine. And then you can. Well, I'll show you here in a little bit why that is once we start taking this apart. So let's go ahead, and before you do anything, you make sure your gun is not loaded, good to go. So first thing we're going to do is take off the slide. So kind of like a 1911 or 1903, because the Tokarev is actually designed around the 1903. Of course, a little different, especially the Russian Tokarev, a little different than this. I won't get into that, but kind of the same, similar way to take it apart. You have your barrel bushing, guy rod, and your slide catch. But the difference is, instead of racking the slide back a little bit until you see a little notch, all you do, there's a little link here that holds in the slide stop. So what you're going to do, take a small little screwdriver, or if yours is loose enough, you use your fingers. Mine's a little tight. Go ahead and move it backwards. Go ahead and push it in. There's a little hanging out here. Push it forward. Now mine's still a little tight. I mean, if you can't get it, you use a little screwdriver, whatever's flat, pry it up a little bit. Make sure you don't scratch up your finish, and just finish it off like that. So go ahead, pull the slide off, and now you got your frame. Alright, so the one cool thing I like about this is the hammer assembly comes right off. That makes it easier to get into the nooks and crannies, clean it off. It's gonna be real nice and clean. I'm not gonna take this all apart. There's a flat spring here, and I don't know what's inside here. I don't know what kind of springs. I'm gonna probably look at that a little later. Take apart the Romanian one, and because they're all about, they're kind of the same. So take that apart, play with it, and then I might just do another video on how to take that particular part apart. So we have just the frame, grips, and all this stuff. So if you notice, there's no screws on here. How the hell does it stay on? Well, kind of a cool and clever way which side. Okay, so on each grip there's a bar. The first one you want to take apart, which is on the left side, is a little longer. If you can see it, I'm gonna see if I can get the light in there, and let's see if I can focus. That'd help if my finger was in the way. Right here, it's a little longer than the other side on this one. So what you do, there's a little notch right in the front. What you do, move this to the left. Some may stick, so you may need some force. Mine was kind of loose because I've been taking this apart. Comes right off, and this is what I was talking about. This is what locks the grips onto the frame. Pretty cool way. You know, I kind of like this idea. And here is the second one. So, and this one's a little smaller and a little tighter. If you can see, I scratched all this up trying to take it apart. So what you do, you take the take a screwdriver. Mine has a little notch cut out, just for being old, which actually works perfectly because it'll grip in here. And you just move it up, and comes right off. So set this aside, and here we are. So before we continue with the frame, go ahead and take apart the slide. So on a 1911, or even the Romanian, or the Romanian Tokarev, you have to push the plunger down, so you could take the barrel bushing and all this stuff out. But this one doesn't move. Well, this is I don't know if this is a proper way of saying it, but it's a self-contained guy rod and spring. It's one solid. Not one solid piece, but it's all together. So you don't have that small little guide rod like this size and all that, like on a GI 1911, or mil spec 1911, where you have your spring, small little guide rod, and you have your little bushing and your plunger. But this is all contained. The Zastiva on my other video on here, it's just like this. I thought that was pretty cool. So while the spring and all that's out, go ahead and move the bushing to the 12 o'clock position and just slide it out. Pops right out. And when I do the video on the Yugo, or on the Romanian, sorry, I'll show you how it's a little different. And here we go. So this kind of looks like a 1911 barrel. You got your upper lugs, your lower lug, locking lugs. You got your feed ramp, but of course the 1911 doesn't have this, and that is for the ejector. So I guess just to clear it, that's gonna be the clear the ejector. Actually, you can kind of see it hitting that a little bit actually. Yeah, that could focus. I guess not. It doesn't want to focus today. Okay. Moving on, this is now completely stripped except for the extractor, which is pinned in here. I'm probably not going to do that at the moment, maybe in the future. I did take apart the, I took the firing pin and the springs out. That was easy. Putting it back in, on the other hand, it took me 5 minutes. It's not like the 1911 where you just take out the plate. This has a plate, but it's a lot smaller in here. You can't really get up in there. It's similar to taking that out, except for this, you have another spring. You have your firing pin, then you have your firing pin spring, then you have another spring with a bushing sitting on top, which rests underneath the plate, like on the inside. So I'm not gonna go down that route again, because it took forever. So maybe in the future. And also at the end, I'm going to show you how to take your mag apart. This is going to go for the Romanian, the Romanian as well. The Zastiva, I can't remember if you could take this apart. But on these you can, because I already took this apart when I got this in. I got this from Classic Firearms. I don't know if it's still available now, but when I saw the Yugo come back, I scooped it up, because a lot of gun stores online, they don't sell this for the CNR doesn't work on these pistols on their site for some reason. Maybe because I got a later model, and this is CNR, Curio, and Relics. So I was able to scoop this up. So as soon as that came on, I jumped on it. I like these little pistols, they're great. And before I continue, I took this to the range the other, like last week on Father's Day. And I never fired the 7.62 by 25 cartridge. I'm like, I'm just wondering how this is going to go. You know, because I fire 9mm, 45 is my favorite caliber. Well, when I shot this, I had no problems like feeding, no problems feeding, ejecting, firing, no hang fires, nothing. It was great. It was smooth. You know, not saying that the 45 isn't smooth, but the this little cartridge, man, this is fun to shoot, to be honest. I was actually kind of excited. I almost went through 80 rounds in the range, but I don't have any more currently, so I just want to keep some just in case. So we're gonna go ahead and continue. So here is your safety. So on the Romanian, it is different. That I will show you guys whenever. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Very different, and it's not really. Yeah, I'll just do that when I do the video. I don't want to get too much into it. So here's your safety. Nothing much to it. So, you know, it goes through. What we're going to do, lift up, and that's it. I mean, that's it. Pops right out. Now, there's these little notches, you know, your selector notches right here. You got your fire and safe, or fire and safe. And right here, there's a little spring, a self-contained spring. Camera's not focusing. Which, poking out is the other part of the spring, so that under tension goes in. So when you're you want to select what, you know, fire or safe, you know, it just goes in, and then it just recools back out. Which, I mean, it's pretty simple, you know, clever and simple. Because most of these, the only reason why these have the safeties, Zasify I think was made like that, I do believe. It's more like that Beretta style. It's the safety's on the slide. The only way that you can import these guns is having a safety. So that's why on the Romanian, the safety's up here, not back here. It's a little different and useless, basically. So get the safety out, and all we have left is the mag release trigger and trigger spring. And the other thing that's different than this in the 1911 is you don't have the whole mess of springs here and the sears up here. You know, you don't have all that mess. This is a simplified version of it, which I kind of like. So what you do is you have a flat spring back here. You got, you know, a pin holding this, and you don't need to take the pin out. So what you do, depress the spring. Let's see which way would be easier to show you guys. Okay. Let's say press it right here. Slide the little bar here. And just keep moving it down until it pops out. And so, I mean, this does look similar to the 1911 trigger. So you got your trigger band on here. That's where the trigger safety would have been for the mag. You know, to go in. So you can't fire, you know, dry fire your gun or fire without a mag. And I almost forgot. So this piece right here would have been in here, but I punched it out. It's not too hard. You flip it over. See that hole, that small hole in there? Punch this out. Bam. No more of that problem. And so what you do, you take out the trigger spring. I moved it. Okay. So what you do, you lift up, and you just pull it back. And here we are. That little thing, and it's only made, and it's made one way. So there's no way you can mess this up putting it back in, because it can only go in one way. So you guys would be fine. And yeah, I don't know how to take the mag release out. It's similar to the 1911, but it's not. I tried messing with it, and it wasn't going. So I'm not gonna mess with that too much. And there you have it. most of the gun is completely taken apart. So now you guys could do a thorough deep clean on it. And let's go ahead and take apart the mag. So there's a little notch right here. What you're going to do, and that's on most guns on their magazines have these little notches so you can take it apart and clean it, especially with these because it's full of cosmoline. So what you do, press that little tab in there and you just push it forward, or yeah, I had it the wrong way. Okay, so want to make sure that the curved part is facing forward, and you press this little I want to say a tab, push it in a little bit, then just move the base plate forward. So what you do, slowly just move it forward. Make sure you keep your finger or your thumb on the bottom plate inside so it doesn't go shooting off. And here is the plate that holds in the spring. Now if you notice that little piece, there was a bar that was brass welded, brazed on there, ran the length of the mag, and I don't know what that was, so I ripped it out. I don't know if that was just a way for these guns to come in here where you had only like a 1 round limit, so I just took it out. Didn't even want to mess with it. Fired fine, didn't have any problems. So if you guys left that bar in there and fired it, you know, were able to put, you know, your 8 shots in there, hey, leave a comment and let me know. So what you do, pull your spring out, make sure you remember how it went back, you know, how it goes in here, so you don't have to fumble around. So, you know, make sure the curly part is the top, make sure it's on the right hand side, make sure this tab, this end piece is on the left or pointing to the right, or you can lay it down just like that so you can remember. And then you have your follower, so which that actually comes out from the top or the bottom, whichever way it falls out. And here it is. This is going to be facing the front. Of course, this is the back of it, and this is where the cartridge sits. Bam. Now this is completely taken apart for the most part. It's only 99% taken apart. So here we are, all take apart. So now you could clean it, deep clean it, do whatever you need to do, what have you. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back together. So I'm gonna start with the mag. Go ahead and put the spring in just like so. All right. Now this is gonna be a little tricky. So you could tell which way this goes in. Flat side with the flat side, curved part with the curved part. Bam. So what you do, go ahead and rest this in here. Then you take your base plate, slide it. Oh wait, no, did I do that right? No, see, I almost caught myself. Almost messed up. So you start with the flat side to the curved side on the mag, and then you move forward. And it locks in. So now, good to go. So let's go ahead and put the frame back together. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the frame, the trigger spring. So have it like this with the scoop part at the bottom. Slide it underneath that pin. You don't need to take the pin out, so don't even worry about it. And it slides underneath. So it's gonna be like this. So go ahead and take your trigger, have the bigger scoop at the bottom, put in this horizontal, and just move your way up. You might have to do a little wiggling like I'm doing. And go ahead and press the spring down, and it should fall right into place. So good to go. And we're gonna go ahead and install the safety and hammer assembly. So there's a little notch here. Try to keep it on the safe position, just because it makes it easier going the when you're installing the hammer or the hammer assembly, because that's what that little paddle right there blocks here, this here, from engaging. So go ahead and you want to hold the safety while you're installing this, and it should, there we go, fall into place. Now you didn't have to put on have it half cocked. I just do, just so I could make sure it's functioning. So here we are, and let's go ahead and install the grips. So we're gonna go ahead and install the right side first, the one with the smaller little locking plate. Set that down. Go ahead and take your whatever you're using. Go ahead and push this up. You might have to lift it up a tad bit just so it could go over the frame, like mine I have to do. See, that it gets stuck a little bit. Not to worry. I might throw some grease down in there one day. I'm not too worried about it. I'll rarely be taking these grips apart anyway, so I'm just doing it because you know, the video. So we're gonna see if we can. I don't know why this doesn't want to go in. Of course, you know, when I'm making a video, nothing wants to cooperate. Yeah, I don't know why it's not going in. I know it's on the correct side, so I don't know what the dealio is. Okay. And so I'm gonna say go ahead and when you're doing this, if yours is tight, flip it over like this and go from this side. Just to see if it'll make it easier for you. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the other one. That one's gonna be a little easier because, you know, this one actually likes to cooperate. And hold on to the hammer, or the hammer group, and go ahead and move that bar over to the left. See if I get some light in here. Just move it that way, and now it's completely locked. So your frame is now completely put back together. So let's go ahead and do the slide. So make sure, you know, your little link is down. Put the barrel from the muzzle. Put the bushing 12 o'clock down to 6. Make sure, I mean, there's only one way you could put this in. This rides on the barrel. So go ahead, put that in, push it back or forward, bam. Now we're good to go. And just like on 1911, you just slide it on. See if anything's lining up. No, that's why that's covering it. Alright. Put this slide catch. Put your the link in here. Is it not flush? There we go. Okay. Back like that. Bam. We're good to go. Nice. And there you have it. Completely assembled. Now you guys know how to do that yourself and how to properly clean your firearm. So, nice. Alright guys, I will probably give you another video tomorrow, maybe around this time, and that's going to be with the Romanian Tokarev variant. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and stay frosty guys.